DaviePHD's Jargon Busters, Episode 5, 21st of October 2020. Before starting today's Jargon Buster, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Ginger, aka the wee ginger dog. Fellow Indy blogger Paul Kavanagh rescued a wee Spanish dog, called him Ginger, brought him home to Scotland. Paul wrote his now famous independence blog in the third person, seen through the eyes of Ginger, the wee ginger dog. Sadly, Ginger has just crossed the Rainbow Bridge to a better place. My thoughts are with Paul, his husband, and everyone who will miss wee Ginger. If you watch the news, it's full of political jargon you may not fully understand. But what do these terms actually mean? And is the news really as bad as it sounds? In these videos, I'm going to bust the jargon and explain these things in terms we can all understand. Tonight's jargon is whips. We hear a lot about whips in parliaments, but that's not because Indiana Jones is running around the place, and of course, it's definitely not because there's some twisted sex dungeon in the basement. At least that's the official line. So who or what is a whip, and what do they do? Well, the term originates from a time when the great majority of parliamentarians were also nobility. Almost all of them would have engaged in the sporting pursuits of the time, including fox hunting. Among the staff working on the hunt, there would be a person called a whipper-in, to keep wayward hounds in check. The party political version, just called a whip, is there to keep wayward members of parliament in check. Most other parliaments have similar arrangements. So when you hear of someone referred to a whip, you generally think of a person. But there are two things called whips, used by all political parties in Holyrood and Westminster. So to keep things simple, the whip is a written instruction. A whip is a person. So let's deal with both of these. The whip. Parties know most of the business which is coming up each week. At the beginning of each parliamentary week, each party issues a set of advice to MPs or MSPs with details of the votes that are coming up. This set of instructions is called the whip, and generally agreeing to follow them is considered taking the whip, or agreeing to vote along party lines. Usually there are four options. A free vote. This is pretty much as it sounds. A member is free to vote as they please in these matters with no party interference. Single line whip, where a vote is underlined once on the whip paper. This is a guide to what a party's policy should indicate, and it's a notification of when the vote is expected to take place. But it is non-binding for attendance or voting. Two-line whip, sometimes known as a double-line whip. A vote is underlined twice on the whip paper. This is an instruction to attend and vote. It's partially binding for voting according to the party's position, attendance required, unless permission is given by a party whip not to. Three-line whip is a strict instruction to attend and vote according to the party's position. The vote is underlined 3 times on the whip paper, and a breach of this instruction would normally have serious consequences. Permission not to attend may be given by a whip, but a very serious reason is needed. Breach of a 3-line whip can lead to expulsion from a parliamentary political group, and in extreme circumstances, even expulsion from a party altogether. Consequently, 3-line whips are generally only issued on key issues, such as votes of confidence and supply, Brexit deals, because the nature of 3-line whips and the potential punishments for revolt vary among parties. Now, a whip, all the major parties will have at least one whip. This will be a senior parliamentarian, generally someone with gravitas in said party. The government and opposition will generally have a chief whip, which is just as it sounds. They'll lead the group of whips in their party. And if the party is in government, the chief whip is a cabinet level position, so that the backbench voices are heard in cabinet and vice versa. A whip is somebody working under the chief whip. They issue the paper to members every week, and they'll spend time ensuring that members are going to follow the whip in the run-up to any votes. If a member has concerns about a vote and the party position, a whip will spend time with them, either addressing those concerns, engaged in simple persuasion, perhaps offering future concessions, or if all else fails, they'll issue warnings or threats of party disciplinary measures. They may issue exemptions to members from time to time from taking part in votes, and in some cases may give special permission for more members to vote against the whip. One example is MSP Jackie Bailey. The Fasley nuclear submarine base is in her constituency, so she actually has a general exemption to Scottish Labour's opposition to Trident. The final part of the job is to be present in the division lobby and monitor who passes through the yes-no lobbies, specifically looking for their own members going down the wrong lobby. So what about defying the whip? Well, this is where an elected member votes against a 2 or 3 line whip without prior permission. Notable examples are Jeremy Corbyn. Prior to becoming the leader of the Labour Party, he was seen as a bit of a rebel and had voted against the party wishes and thereby defied the Labour whip hundreds of times. More recently, Tory rebels who voted against the Boris Johnson Brexit deal, Philip Hammond, David Gogg and Rory Stewart, defied the whip. Withdrawal or removal of the whip is the first stage in most parties' sanction process, generally for defying the whip, but the sanction is not only limited to party votes and can be applied to party members for other disciplinary matters. What it means is that the next time the whip on paper is issued, that the member who has had the whip withdrawn won't get a copy, and they are effectively excluded from the party's parliamentary group until they've either been disciplined and or invited back. When the aforementioned Philip Hammond, David Gogg and Rory Stewart didn't vote with the government on the Brexit deal, they had the Tory whip withdrawn and were suspended from the Conservative Party. An MP can't be sacked for party disloyalty as they are elected by their constituents. But in this case, the timing was just right and Boris Johnson effectively sacked them by keeping their party suspension in place until candidate selection for the general election was completed. As they were suspended from the party during the selection process, they couldn't be chosen. But withdrawal of the whip isn't just limited to defying votes. Recently, Dr. Julian Lewis had the Tory whip removed as he plotted with Labour and SNP members to elect himself as chair of the Intelligence Committee rather than the Prime Minister's preferred candidate, Chris Grayling. The Tories may not have been happy, but believe me, the intelligence community breathed a sigh of relief. And of course, Margaret Ferrier has had the SNP whip removed following her journeys to and from Westminster when she should have been self-isolating. So, does it work? Well, yes, it generally does. The fact that this occurs in most parliaments around the world backs this up, and the fact that defying a whip is quite a rare occurrence these days backs up the position that it does. If you've voted for a party with a certain position, then their overall voting record should, and in most cases does, reflect that position. Other times when it doesn't work. There may be times when an MP following the whip may not follow the wishes of their constituents. How can I try to make it work for me? Well, firstly, by voting. If you don't vote, then by my reckoning, you have no right to complain when your MP goes against your wishes. Secondly, by writing and engaging. Many people never engage with their members of parliament, unless it's in an election. I can assure you I'm not one of those. My MPs and MSPs hear from me often on various issues. If they don't know the strength of feeling in the constituency, how can we as the electorate expect them to know? So write, email, attend surgeries, and make them sing for their supper. Well, folks, that's it for whips. If there's any other political jargon driving you nuts, let me know and I'll bust it. Otherwise, I'd ask you all to comment on the Facebook page, play nicely. Unionists are welcome here too, as are their dissenting opinions, as long as they play nicely too. DaviePHD.